Hello gamers, welcome back to another Borderlands 2 video. Today we're going to be taking on OP10 Voracidous with no badass rank and actually no UCP or Borderlands 2 fix, so we're playing on just vanilla Borderlands. So that means Voracidous does have the health glitch where he has like 50 billion health or some ridiculous shit, but he is still killable with our boy Krieg because Bloodsplosion is absolutely insane. So let's talk about how we're going to do it. So grog nozzle just for kiting and staying alive during the fight. And honestly, the rest of the stuff is pretty much pointless. You could use a rapier in your second slot. I can elaborate a little bit more on that later, but not super necessary. I don't use it to get the kill. It's not needed, but it could help in some niche scenarios, like if you go down and you need to melee something, because we are going to be doing a little bit of melee damage. So yeah. That would be the only use case. But basically, your weapons are totally useless. Other than the grog, you're just keeping yourself alive. The Topnia can be nice also if you go down, or like a Norfleet, whatever you want to use. But you can use this to like get one of the midgets low and try to melee them. Or just kill one of the midgets and try to get back up. But if you don't melee one of the midgets, you've probably ruined this kill already. And I'll explain why in a little bit. But yeah, so basically just the grog and a rocket launcher. And then we have the Flame of the Firehawk and the Love Thumper. So the Flame of the Firehawk, basically what we're going to do is we're going to go into the arena and we're going to kite Voracidous and the Chief around until he swaps the shield 2 times. So basically we'll start the fight and then shield will get swapped to Voracidous, and then that is what spawns in all the midgets, and then he'll swap the shield back off of Voracidous back onto the Chief, back to himself. So that is the moment where we go for the kill. And that's where we switch to the Love Thumper, and that's what you'll see. But every other part of this kill, you'll have the Flame of the Firehawk and the Grog Nozzle out so we can actually survive. And it also helps get the midgets low health to set up the kill. So yeah, we got the Flame of the Firehawk and the Love Thumper. Legendary Torch, Legendary Reaper, and the Diesel Blister Comm are necessary for this kill. Stormfront to stack Bloodlust and stay alive, Crossfire to slag everything, and then in Fastball to actually cause the Bloodsplosion chain. We have a Blood of the Ancients on at the start. The Blood of the Ancients is like, you don't really want to run the Incendiary Bone of the Ancients because you might accidentally kill the midgets too fast. So, I mean, in theory, you can kind of just use whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're not buffing your fire damage, because you don't want to kill the midgets too fast. You want to have as many of them alive as possible. They just need to be low health. So yeah, these are the only 2 relics, a health relic and the Incendiary Bone of the Ancients. And now that we've kind of explained the gear, here's a quick glimpse at the build. It's nothing too crazy. It's just a Bloodsplosion kill. The main thing we want is Fuel the Blood maxed. And we want to hold our Bloodlust stacks with Boiling Blood and Blood-filled guns. Let's see. So this is the part that's kind of interesting. The melee damage actually does matter a little bit for this kill, even though we're Bloodsploding and we're not using melee Krieg. We're still going to use melee. So Empty the Rage and Salt the Wound gives us just enough melee damage in conjunction with the Love Thumper to proc Fuel the Blood. And that's really all we need it to do. So that's why we have that. Strip the Flesh doesn't really do anything with this build. It's just kind of here. Redeem the Soul. Again, kind of nice if you go down just in case. But most of the time if you go down, you're not going to get the kill. I'll be honest. So otherwise, pretty standard. We don't want Raving Retribution for the same reason as discussed previously. We don't want to accidentally kill the midgets too fast. That'll ruin the kill. No badass rank. So yeah, now that I've kind of shown everything, I'll give a quick explanation of how it works. And of course, I'll just show it. But basically, the general premise here is to run around with the Grog Nozzle and Flame of the Firehawk, kiting around the Chief and Voracidous until they spawn in 2 sets of midgets. And then the Chief will swap the shield back to himself, and that's when we go for the kill. And basically what we want to do is throw a bunch of crossfires, like 3 or 4. And then after that, we want to use the Love Thumper and the Reaper Comm, and we want to melee one of the midgets to death. And what that does is the Reaper gives us the kill skill duration, and we'll get Fuel the Blood proc. So if we kill an enemy with melee, it increases our grenade damage. Okay, nice. So what does that do? So once we proc the melee kill with the love thumper, we will throw like 1 or 2 more slag grenades or whatever. And then we want to go for the kill. We'll swap off the Reaper to the Diesel Blister comp. That's why we have this. +6 to Fuel the Blood gives us 11 points in Fuel the Blood, and our grenade damage is absolutely through the roof. So basically, at that point, we'll also switch to our Incendiary Relic, put on the Incendiary Fastball, and we'll kill one of the midgets, and it will cause a Bloodsplosion chain that will instantly kill Voracidous. That is the basic premise of this idea. Definitely sounds easier than it actually is. It's not a super consistent kill, but it's definitely doable, and it's definitely repeatable. So yeah, that's the build, guys, and let's go over and show some kills. All right, let's go ahead and start the kill. Throw a grenade. And try to get this going. Try not to run into my own grenade. That would also be a wise choice. Okay, now we can kind of kite around a little bit. Okay. And they're really split apart. Okay, he transferred the shield. That's cool, but they're like crazy split apart right now. Kind of need that to fix, rectify a little bit. There we go, there we go. Okay. Alright, probably doing a little bit too much damage. Alright. Alright, shield has been transferred. Unfortunately, he just jumped right on top of us. But let's go ahead and switch our gear. Okay. Cool, we got the kill. Let's go. Diesel Blister. And a fastball. Where is the fastball? See how that does. Yes! Let's fucking go, dude! I don't care that I killed myself. Oh my god. This... it looked great there, but... Guys, this kill is so fucking hard to set up. It's actually insane. Oh my god. Okay. Alright, well I tried my best to commentate during the kill, but it just requires so much focus. Like, it's honestly so hard. I'll try to elaborate a little bit more on what I just did there. And come back in there and show you, but I think you guys get the general idea. But I'll start with the base gear and try to explain it a little bit better, because I probably wasn't talking a lot while I was doing that, because, like I said, this kill requires a ton of focus. At least for me. I don't know. Maybe there's people out there where they just do this in their sleep, but not me. Definitely not me. Alright. So, let's not shoot Voracidous. But, alright, basically what happened there is we start the fight, right? We throw our Stormfront to kind of kick it off, because we need our Flame of the Firehawk to kick in. So the Stormfront keeps us alive until the Flame of the Firehawk starts kicking in and keeping us alive with the Elemental Elation and Grog Nozzle procs. So basically we're kind of just kiting around this little corner. I don't really, like, I haven't tested enough on, like, other routes, I guess, to really know. I don't think it really matters where you kite, to be completely honest, but I've just always gone this way and then kind of back towards the middle when I go for the kill, or, like, kind of back towards this area. But, basically the idea is kite them around, throw Stormfronts as needed, dodge the corrosive spikes, just hold the grog like it's your newborn child, and just kite around. Once the midget spawns in, throw your grenades at the midgets and the chief to make sure you stay alive, and kind of slowly whittle them down as well. And then basically you want all the midgets and everyone to kind of get aggro onto you. And while they're doing that, the flame of the firehawk is slowly burning them down. Throw a couple grenades, and you want to get, in an ideal scenario, you want to keep all the midgets alive and then have one of the midgets be super low health. So basically, as soon as the chief transfers the shield back to himself, as soon as that happens, as soon as you see that blue animation, switch Love Thumper. You can go Reaper, but I think, yeah, I did show both in this video. Sorry, I recorded it 2 different times, but I switched to the Reaper in one of them to make sure I had the kill skill active long enough. But you can just keep the torch on because everything is happening in like 2 seconds, so it doesn't really matter. But basically, switch to the Love Thumper, torch, switch to your incendiary comm, switch to your crossfire. So the shield is now off of Voracidous, and then you just want to throw like 2 crossfires and like kind of at where Voracidous and all the midgets are. Throw 2 of those, melee the little midget guy that you kept super low health, melee him down, which will then proc Fuel the Blood. Okay, so once you've procced that, don't immediately switch. Keep shooting and throw like 1 or 2 more grenades to make sure everything's slagged. And then after you've done that, then you're going to want to go ahead and switch to the Diesel Blister. Firebone is already on. Love Thumper, keep it on. And then switch to the Incendiary Fastball and then kill a midget with the Fastball. And with the Diesel Blister on, you will have 11 points into Fuel the Blood, which gives you an insane amount of grenade damage. And basically that's how you get the Bloodsplosion kill. It's from that chain. So yeah, hopefully watching and hopefully me explaining kind of helps paint the picture. I won't lie, like this is not super consistent, guys. It is not. If you're playing on like BL2 fix or UCP, you can probably get this down like much more consistently because the Bloodsplosion chain doesn't have to be perfect to kill him. Like you could probably do like an okay one and it'll still work. Because I've had a couple runs where I've gotten him like half health or low health. So, if I was on BL2 fix or whatever, it probably would have just killed him. So, got a Hawkeye. But yeah, not gonna lie, it's definitely not consistent, and it's a really frustrating boss fight. It's hard, so don't expect it to work right away, but it is definitely doable with some practice. But yeah, guys, just wanted to show a Voracidous kill, show that it's possible on vanilla OP10, even with the health glitch. If I were to use UCP BL2 fix, this kill would probably be like way more consistent, and it would actually be a fairly farmable raid boss. As it is on vanilla, even with this method, it is a pain in the ass to farm him. I mean, I don't know. This raid boss feels like Gearbox was just like, you know what? Fuck all of you. Here's Voracidous. Figure it out. Like, this boss is genuinely terrible. It is not a very fun raid, but hey, it's possible. And there are some cool ways you can deal with it. This isn't the only way you can do it on Krieg, but yeah, this is the way that I've found that requires the least amount of gear and the least amount of like insane switch combos and stuff like that. So anyway, that's enough yapping out of me. Here's the build one more time, or gear, I should say. Here's the build. And then no badass rank, no BL2 fix or any of that on. So yeah, that's it, guys. I will see you next time. Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.